Hi everyone, it's Suey here. A lot of you have been enjoying my video that I made showing you my collection, but it seems like there is some interest in where all these books came from, like how I accumulated these books. And I kind of want to be snarky a little bit and say, you know, you just kind of go to the store and you buy one book here and one book there, and pretty soon you have 2,000 plus books in your house. That's pretty much really truly what happens. But I think I remember saying on one of the videos I've made, I don't really buy that many books, which I think if you see this behind me and around here, you would laugh and say, right, you don't buy books, haha. But it's true because I made a list of where I feel like most of my books came from. And there are times when I do buy them, yes, but to actually just go to a bookstore and just like say, okay, I feel like buying a book now, and I go to the bookstore and I buy a book, that rarely happens. There's always something going on, some event of some kind, some reason to buy the book. So let's talk about those. So first of all, there's a handful of books, probably not very many here, that were brought to this collection from my childhood life and my husband's childhood life. Here's a couple of those that I found off the shelf. These ones were definitely on my little shelf when I was growing up. This one especially is a very huge favorite book. And my husband has his little pile too that are assimilated into this collection here. And I don't remember exactly where these books came from, whether they were gifts or something, but I do know, and I've talked about this in another video, that I got to go to the Scholastic book fairs often when I was a kid, and I still remember back in those days, the books were just laid out on a big table, and we could just go and paw through them all and pick a few books. And so I know that several of my books that I brought with me from my childhood days were from Scholastic book fairs. So there's that, books from the past basically. And also I've inherited a few books. Upstairs are the old books from my grandpa and from my grandma and from my husband's mom and dad, maybe some of them. And I know that they got rid of some books a while back and we ended up with a pile of them, and I can't remember exactly which ones they are. So we've inherited some that people are giving away that we didn't want to throw away. Another big thing that I think a lot of these books come from are thrift stores. We have a couple of thrift stores here in the area, and I would go and browse the shelves and come home with a big pile. Most of my classics, these older classics, I would pick up at a thrift store, pay $1 for or whatever. I haven't been doing that for a long time now because I obviously have run out of room for my books, and I can't justify going to the thrift store and bringing home a pile of books anymore. So that stopped. I haven't been doing that for a long time. But back in the day, it was so much fun. This is making me remember there was also somebody who, it was like a garage sale. They would run it out of their house and they would have hundreds of boxes of books all in their garage, all around their yard, all up and down the sidewalk. And we could paw through all of those, and we would come home with a pile of books that we got for like, we maybe get 20 books for like, $6 or $7 or something. Oh, along with thrift store buying is library book sales, used books at the library. And here's one we grabbed that we bought recently. It has the library cover on it, the library thing on it. But in fact, there's one happening this very weekend. Am I going? No, I am not. I can't buy stuff like this anymore because there's no room. So we have gone to many library sales and come home with a nice pile of books. Okay, also, many of these books are gifts, whether they're gifts that we get at Christmas or birthdays, or people give us gift cards. When I say us, I'm including like all the whole family together, because this is sort of an accumulated collection, just not my books, the whole family's books, right? There have been many Christmases where we get a whole stack piled, and then each kid will get a whole stack. And that hasn't been happening lately either because we've run out of room. I'm sure many of our picture books were Christmas books that my kids would get for Christmas. Most probably. Most recent, I think, I got this series for Christmas just a couple years ago. There's more in the series, but these are the two I have. I think this, I mean, this is just an example. There's many, but I think I remember getting this series for Christmas. Probably this one came first, and then we loved it, so we got the rest for Christmas. That's probably what happened, and so they don't match. Some of you probably get freaked out by that, but I am one of these people who just really, a book is a book. Who cares? Who cares? Okay, so I talked about Scholastic book fairs from the past when I went as a kid, but then I ended up as a parent going to Scholastic book fairs and taking my kids to them. And in fact, there was a 10-year period where I was in charge of the Scholastic book fair. So that meant that we got a discount. As being the workers for the Scholastic book fair, they let us buy the books for like 40% off, I think it was, which meant I would go through the whole shelves and get a whole pile. I remember buying $60, $70, $80 worth of books. There's a couple I remember that were from Scholastic book fairs. We were noticing as we were grabbing some books, this one doesn't have it, but there's so many books on our bookshelves that have the Scholastic thing here, and some of them, of course, just are published by Scholastic, but I bet you most of the books that have this on their spine in this collection are from the Scholastic book fair. We supported that thing like crazy. Tons and tons and tons of books that way. Probably the biggest amount of books I have here, I have bought when I have gone to author signings. Our libraries have author signings, and there's a bookstore a little ways away that we go to often for book signings. They bring in all kinds of authors from all over the place, and sometimes they have really good special events where they don't even have it at their bookstore. They have rented a bigger venue to see a really famous author, and most of the books you see behind me here are signed books from author events, especially the YA books. A couple of those examples. This is the most recent one we went to. We met the writing team, Christina Lauren, two ladies, and got this one signed. And then this one I've grabbed. I think it was interesting. We've met these two, Ransom Riggs and Teheda Mafi. They're husband and wife. If you guys don't know, I love, 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 love her series. So it was really cool to meet her and get my books signed. This book signed, some of them I don't have in regular print versions. Ransom Riggs. Yes, we saw him. I think one time we saw them together, and one time they were separate. It was fun to meet them. And then another fun one that I grabbed is Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Interesting writing pair. So we got that one signed. But anyway, that's just an example. Like I said, most of the ones behind me could be examples of this. Sometimes they make you buy the book as sort of the ticket to get in. Sometimes you don't have to, but once you're there, you want to. At least that's how I am. And you want to support them anyway. You're there to support them, so might as well buy their book. So anyway, that's what I end up doing most of the time, is buying their book or books, bringing some that I have from home, and then buying some there. And so you go with a stack of books to get signed. It's awesome. It's over in the adult fiction. There's a few like that, but most of those I get either for gifts or at the thrift stores and library sales. So also back in the day when I was blogging, I ended up getting a lot of advanced reader copies or ARCs. This was a perk I didn't realize was going to be something when I started blogging. So actually, J. Scott Savage was the first author that approached me when I had a blog, and he gave me this ARC for his new series at the time. Waterkeep was the first book, and then later on he actually gave us the second book. This is what's called an uncorrected proof, the step that a book goes through before the ARC, and he gave us that. He actually handed it to my son, and he gave it to him personally. It was a very cool perk of being a blogger, but I didn't realize that I would end up having so many ARCs as a blogger. I didn't ever monetize or make money off of my blog, but I did end up with probably hundreds of books. This author, her publishing company was doing a promo, and they asked me to talk about their book, and then they gave me the entire series of like regular books, and I was like, seriously? And they didn't expect me to read them all. They would, they probably hoped that I would, but so stuff like that would happen all the time. Here's a couple other ARCs. that we just grabbed off the shelf, so you can see they're very interesting covers. This one's matched by Ali Condi. I think I mentioned it in another video. And Kate Morton's The Distant Hours, which I still want to read, which I haven't read. And also, there's some middle grades over there that I was on a judging panel, and they would send us all the books to read to make the decision for this award that we were judging for. I did that a couple times, so I probably have a nice huge pile of nice hardback middle grade books from that. So I think that pretty much covers where I feel like most of my books came from. Then now there are times when we walk into a bookstore and just randomly buy a book, or we're just like, oh, I feel like buying a book, but seriously, it doesn't happen very often. We do sometimes go to bookstores when we're on vacation, and then I usually buy one or two things at that time. But most of the time when I go to the bookstore here, I usually have a gift card to use, or I'm buying a gift for someone else, or it's Christmas and I'm buying gifts for that. It's rare that we just randomly buy books. Now, I have ordered off of Amazon randomly quite a bit, or I'm thinking I want this one book for book club or something, and then I'll end up getting 2 or 3 in the same order. I should say that Costco is also a place where I randomly buy books because they are such a good deal there. And so if you're browsing the Costco table and you're like, oh, I want that book, it ends up in the cart. I hope that you enjoyed hearing about where this whole collection accumulated from, and hopefully that's interesting to you. I did a poll and it seemed like a lot of you were interested in learning where all this stuff came from. Comment below where you get your books from, and if you're enjoying what's going on this channel, like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye!